It is November 20th, 1944. Beneath the cold, dark swell of the Philippine Sea, the Imperial Japanese Navy I-47 submarine cuts silently through the water. It carries a deadly, highly secret cargo: 4 unique manned torpedoes, the Kaiten. Inside the I-47, Lieutenant Sekio Nishina grips a small box containing the ashes of his dearest friend, bracing himself for the fate they had promised each other. The captain's voice confirms they have reached the deployment point. Nishina takes the urn and walks toward his destiny. The open hatch above beckons him toward the final voyage inside the weapon of his own design, a machine meant to desperately change the tide of a losing war. Nishina climbs into the cramped cockpit, settling into the creation born of countless hours of feverish work. This machine, the Kaiten manned torpedo, is the vessel for his one-way mission, sinking American ships anchored near the heavily guarded Ulithi Atoll. He gently sets down his friend's remains and meticulously checks every dial, valve, and lever. A designer's pride flashes through his focus. "We've made a beautiful creature," he whispers. Communicating with the submarine's captain, he receives his final coordinates. The targets are dead ahead, just 4.5 miles away. "It's been an honor," he says, severing the link. The Kaitens are released from the I-47. Practically steering themselves on rudimentary autopilots, their raw speed is undeniable. At the time, these were the fastest manned submarines in the world. Each Kaiten takes a slightly different route. They surface briefly, half a mile from the atoll, allowing the pilots to use their periscopes for the final, deadly bearing. Nishina peers through his periscope. Before him is a beautiful sight: several massive American ships, sitting like ducks. He locks his gaze on the largest vessel, powering forward. In the name of honor and glorious victory. The attack begins with disaster. One of the Kaitens runs aground on a hidden sandbank, triggering a massive premature explosion. "Hey, did you hear that? We are under attack!" Americans scramble to battle stations, peering out, but see nothing in the dark water. The element of surprise is gone. Inside his Kaiten, Nishina carefully maneuvers in the shallow water, dropping his periscope to avoid detection and sailing virtually blind. Then, another devastating impact. A second Kaiten is hit by depth charges. The entire anchorage is now alert, yet still unable to pinpoint the invisible threat. Nishina extends his periscope again, adjusting his course toward his chosen target, the massive oiler USS Mississiniwa. His view fills with the enormous gray hull. He turns hard, aiming square at its center. In the distance, the third Kaiten becomes entangled in torpedo netting. Its struggling engine pours smoke into the night air, finally giving the Americans a visual target. They open fire, tearing the small submersible apart. Nishina is now alone. He hopes they don't see him. He is so close. The Kaiten picks up speed, faster and faster, rushing toward the hull. He takes what he knows will be his final breath, turning his gaze to the urn. His life flashes past, bringing him back to the tragic revelation that birthed this weapon. In June 1942, Ensign Nishina received the devastating truth. The Battle of Midway was not the stalemate reported at home, but a catastrophe that had wiped out 4 of Japan's best carriers and most experienced pilots. Japan's early war advantage was lost, and American power grew stronger by the month. Desperate times bred desperate measures. Nishina, training with his friend Lieutenant Hiroshi Kuroki, realized that their small, stealthy attack vessels, which were already becoming obsolete against superior American sonar, were nothing more than undersea coffins. Their difficult-to-aim torpedoes meant successful infiltrations often ended in failure. Kuroki spoke the fatal question. "I would want to take at least one of the American ships with me if I were to lose my life." The thought struck Nishina. What if they stopped aiming the torpedoes and turned the submarine into the torpedo? The two friends, in mutual understanding of the bleak future, began drafting sketches, proposing their idea of a manned, subsurface suicide weapon, a concept predating the infamous kamikaze. Officials initially ignored them, but when the two men submitted their proposal written in their own blood, the officials could no longer deny the plan's devastating usefulness. The Kaiten was greenlit. A condition was set. The pilot must have a means of escape, a detail the two designers knew was impractical and soon abandoned. The Kaiten prototype was a $14.7-meter-long beast, weighing 8 tons, featuring only a single periscope, rudimentary controls, and a clock for timing turns. Its sole purpose was to deliver 1.5 tons of explosive to the enemy. Thousands passionately volunteered to pilot the Kaiten, but only a few hundred were selected for training under Kuroki and Nishina. Without manuals, the designers and their students were forced to test the weapon under fire. Before we continue with the tragic story of Kuroki's final training mission, please take a moment to hit the like button below. Your support helps us share these powerful little-known stories of WWII sacrifice. If this tragic history is compelling, please subscribe and leave a comment telling me what you think of the Kaiten's design. On a foggy day off the coast of Otsushima, despite Nishina's desperate warnings, Kuroki insisted on testing an early Kaiten version, claiming the weather simulated combat conditions. He dove and pushed forward. Kuroki's Kaiten dove too deep. The rough seas and strong currents wrestled the controls away. Out of control, the submarine propelled itself down and slammed into the ocean floor. His weapon was now his prison. He cursed himself for abandoning the escape hatch design, but realized the pressure would have made it useless anyway. Thinking quickly, he released bursts of compressed air every 5 minutes, hoping the bubbles would alert the surface vessels. The weather made the signal futile. Out of options, Kuroki calmly used his final moments to write a detailed incident report, absolving Nishina and the others of all blame. He concluded with a traditional death poem. This brave man, so filled with love for his country that he finds it difficult to die, is calling out to his friends and about to die. He was found 10 hours later, dead from oxygen deprivation, just 22 years old. The loss was devastating for Nishina, who was now forced to press on alone. By November 1944, the crews were mission-ready. 12 pilots, including Nishina, were selected for the first attack. They celebrated with sake and speeches. During his speech, Nishina revealed that he would carry the ashes of Hiroshi Kuroki on board Kaiten No. 1, fulfilling their promise to attack the enemy together. Aboard the I-47, the submariners treated the 4 Kaiten pilots with the utmost reverence. The crew presented them with a painting, a Kaiten destroying an American ship, to be gifted to the Emperor. As the latches released and the phone line severed, Nishina took the helm. He heard underwater explosions and realized his friends were in trouble. He rose toward the surface, speeding forward, unaware that he was the only Kaiten remaining. The Americans searched intently for periscopes, but Nishina was already on his final approach, periscope down. He was at full speed, 30 knots, 34 amps. The sound of the engine faded as he considered his fate. "We've made it, my friend." Nishina closed his eyes. The warhead of his Kaiten touched the USS Mississiniwa's hull. The impact set off the explosive charge. A massive explosion ripped the massive oiler in two, igniting a gigantic fire that illuminated the anchorage. Secondary blasts tore through the ship as fuel tanks burst into bright orange fireballs. The ship burned out of control and sank, claiming the lives of 63 American men. Watching the explosions in the distance, the I-47 submarine crew mistakenly believed all 4 Kaitens were successful, reporting a false, high success rate. This false report tragically inspired the Japanese to try more Kaiten missions, but very few succeeded. In total, 106 young men sacrificed their lives piloting these horrific machines. U.S. sources confirm that only 3 ever hit their targets, claiming the lives of 187 Americans. These pilots are today remembered in the Kaiten Memorial Museum, located on the island of Otsushima, where the men trained for their final missions. Thank you for following this tragic story of loyalty and desperation. If this deep dive into WWII history moved you, please make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more untold stories, and leave a comment below sharing your thoughts on Nishina and Kuroki's devotion.